That's automatic. Okay, I just wanted to do a video, real quick, about some issues that I, came across. Yeah, I was just looking at, on another channel. Let's do my browse a little bit on here. Anyway, there's one thing I wanted to address. I mean, I do not really care what other people feel, because it's not, I guess I don't really have I don't have a dog in the fight, basically, in this situation, really. Because, I mean, like, I don't know. I focus more on me rather than others most of the time. And I feel like sometimes people focus on other things, maybe because of their own concerns or issues. Not really. I don't know. I don't know why people do the things they do or feel the ways they feel. I just know I don't feel that way. And, like, for me, I don't know. I talk to other people who, swirl, and they seem like they just have a different perspective than me. We do the same things, you know what I mean? Like, for me, my perspective is like, one, I don't have any issue with other women, really. I've never had this problem. Like, sometimes it seems like some people say they ran into issues with white women. I've never had any issue with white women. My issue has always been Latina women and mixed race women, women that look similar to me, like lighter skinned women, brown skinned women, things like that. I've said that several times. Um, I mean, there are a few times with white women. Generally, it was always white women who like black men. And I'd always be like, okay, if you just calm down for a sec, you'll know I'm not into black men. You don't have to have much of an issue. And generally, for me, it always seemed like their issue was more so a problem of, because a lot of people don't pay attention. I think a lot of people, well, some people are overweight, so they don't really pay attention really to certain things, really. If you're a skinnier black woman, sometimes you will have those problems. I'm pretty sure you can have that with anyone, really. And for me, personally, I didn't really get it for being skinny. I did a bit for being skinny. But mostly it was for being bigger chested whilst being skinny. Like, that was mainly the problem with those women. Just so odd, because they prefer black men. Black men usually care more about a butt, bigger butt, right? I don't even think white men really care about big boobs. That's just me, how I see it. Anyway, moving along, I just don't really notice any problems though, other than those. I mean, like, there's only 2 times out of my whole lifetime of 26 years. So for me, I mean, I never really saw how, like, someone could be so upset with them, really, off of things like that. I mean, I guess this goes back to the whole thing of I'm not unhappy with black men who swirl. So I don't mind when they swirl with white women. In fact, I actually prefer them to. And honestly, about the women who swirl, white women who swirl with black men, interracially date with black men, you know, I kind of feel like they tend to be kind of nice. To me, at least, like, especially the ones, because they are embracing, black being, like, they embrace for their children sometimes being black. And I know people don't want to focus on this. They like to say that a lot of white women, they even say a lot of mixed women, want to encourage their kids to look less black. I don't know, sometimes they do. But like I said, I've experienced many mixed women and white women who will try and prove how black their kids are. Like, I've heard so many times mixed girls be like, my kids are darker than you, they're more black looking than you and stuff, and how black they are as a term of pride. I've heard many white women act like they'll be like, I know people try and say that mixed people are not black, but if my kids are so black, look, they look like they're the same color as you, they're darker than you, blah blah blah. They do that, okay? So obviously, if they're doing that, they're obviously hating on their kids being black. They're trying to prove how black their kids are because they feel like their kids sometimes are rejected, especially white women's kids tend to feel like their kids are rejected for being biracial, and so that's why they do that. I don't know. To me, I don't think they are. The women who interracially date are really against black women or black people. That's why they're with black black man. You know what I mean? So to me, I just don't think that that's what they're trying to do there. Maybe I'm not saying there's not any white woman that's like that or any mixed woman who's like that. But to me, I just think that not all of them and many of them aren't. The only thing I don't like is the ones who try to act black. Because, like I said, there are two things. There can be two problems, and like I said, there's that whole problem of some of them, they'll be like, I'm whiter, so prefer me kind of thing, then get cranky when that doesn't work. I've seen that happen. So I'm not saying that it doesn't happen in that respect. But I'm also saying that people who are like actually mothers of biracial children, they usually, to me, weren't acting like that. And there's a difference with someone who just happens to sleep with black men every now and then, and someone who actually has black children, biracial children. Um, Also, I mean, there's one other thing I wanted to address, like I said. Um, the ones who act more like they are trying to be um, more like ghetto black people, or more hood. I don't know what's the correct term to use. Tell me what the correct term to use. I will use it. Those who act that way, um, they generally like to stereotype. They like to stereotype a lot. In fact, they went to the point like my mother was offended by one of them because they basically were saying like, oh, now I start talking white, which was supposed to be proper. And then she said she started getting good results because they were working in some type of customer service, commission-based job. My mother doesn't really talk that way, so she didn't have that problem. But they tried to act like that was a white feature, and this was a white person. That is very offensive to a black person because it's like, what are you saying? Your way of manner is appropriate. Your way is right. So idea that white is right. I mean, that's very offensive. So I mean, like sometimes they can get a little offensive in those respects. But then again, I mean, like plenty of white people can get offensive. And honestly, with white people, I don't know. I don't get so offended by them being racist as much as I do with black people because I'm like, the very black person, the very I'm saying of I'm not saying very black, but I'm saying even even the black person cannot, you know, see that black is good and see the good in being black, then I mean we're lost. We're lost. You know? So that's very offensive when black people say hateful things to other black people. When black people call other black people the N word and they're saying it in a racist term. And when black people say things negatively about being black, that's what offends me. But I don't know. When white people say it's like, well, you don't know what it's like to be black. So how can you value what you've never been, what you've never had? You know what I mean? But I mean, I can understand when people are offended by them because I mean, like they've like implemented so many different ways of holding black people down for so many centuries that, I mean, I'm not blaming anyone for having issue with racism from them. I'm just saying, for me, I guess for me it's like I'm kind of like I kind of was raised where, well, some of them are gonna be that way, but black people, I never expected them to be that way until I got older and I realized, oh, they're that way too, and that's like really problematic. Um, so yeah, that's all I was really talking about. I mean, like, I don't really hate on white women as a swirler, and I see, like, some people, they kind of do. And it's okay, I mean, like, they have their bad experiences. I just personally haven't had any bad experiences, especially from the ones who swirl. Not really. Like I said, sometimes they act a little different, sometimes some things can slip up, but I mean, like, I don't know. The main thing I ever have an issue with, like I said, with swirling white women is competition. They might see me as competition, and I don't want to compete because I don't like black men. So it's like, could you just wait, recognize I'm doing the same thing you're doing, just in reverse, okay? Now ignore me, and yeah, we could get on good, kind of mentality. I never really have to worry other than that because, like, when it comes to white men, I know white men are attracted to white women. And that doesn't really bother me because, I guess, because I like mixed men. Like, my preference is mixed men first. And someone was addressing this in someone else's video that white men, like, prefer white women, and so then black women shouldn't be with white men or something like that. I'm like, I don't prefer white men. I prefer mixed men. Overall, if we're talking about quantity, if we're talking about like what would be ideal to me, it would be a mixed man. It's never been anything else. For me, it's just that I live in America. There's a majority of white people. There's a majority of white men. So why would I, you know, limit my options if I am equally attracted to some white men as I am to some mixed men? If I'm equally attracted to them, then I don't understand why I actually really need brown skin to make a good match with someone. It's more like personality, more similar interests, finances, and attraction. And if all those things are met, then I don't understand why it's any different. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, like, on both sides, if both things are met, then why do I really care? One just looks a little different from the other person. But I find both looks attractive, then what does it matter to me? You see, that's what I see. I don't really. That's why, to me, it's not like I'm angry at white women. It's just like, well, there's enough white men around that I don't really feel like I have to have any angst towards the next person for that reason. And if it was really like that, I don't think I would really still have a problem. I don't know. To me, I just don't understand why I would have any issue. I really don't. And I know people have accused me before of the whole Latina thing. My thing with Latinas is not that I actually have a personal issue with Latinas. Latinas, for me, are like mixed and light skinned women and brown skinned women and women exactly my color especially. I learned quick. Please do not try and see like, oh, we're similar. So, you see commonality with them. They don't see it that way usually. Usually there's a problem because we look alike, and then they think that there's gonna be. I think they're uncomfortable, insecure, maybe. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. So to me, I mean, I generally have always had hate from them, and that's how I've responded. And since I've had hate from them, I kind of am like, well, I'd rather just, you know, I just really am like, well, they have their own issues, especially with not being white enough and stuff, and that whole contest. I'm not interested in that contest. I guess because, like I said in other videos, it's never been impressed upon in me that you need to be as white as you need to be to attract the next guy, okay? For me, it's like, that I just need to find my thing, my uh, strengths, and that's what I benefit off of, you know? That's what I capitalize off of. I'm not gonna like covet anyone else's beauty. If I was coveting anyone's beauty anyway, it would be dark skinned black women. It would not be white women, or Hispanic women, especially Hispanic women. Because for me, I think Hispanic men look more masculine than white men. I think white men look very masculine. So, I mean, I would not want to look like a Hispanic man as a woman, or the female version of a Latino man. You know what I mean? I'd rather look as far as from that as possible. So for me, it isn't like, that's why people always think like, I think that, people have issue with the next thing that they're attracted to is other gender when it comes to swirling. I don't. I don't have that issue. In fact, I've always kind of like been like, well, can't really be dark skinned black woman. I'm definitely not white. I kind of feel like I'm in the middle too. You know, kind of like all in the middle. So I kind of relate to that, situation. But I just learned over time, you can't really show that you relate to certain people because they might not like you. So, I mean, yeah, that's kind of like how I am with that. White women, like I said, I've never had any issue. And I will not call them certain names that some people are calling them. It's like weird to me. Um, but with that in mind, I do not call anyone any weird names out of their name or based off of a race and a gender. I wouldn't want to be called a Shaniqua, and so I kind of don't want to do that to others. That's just how I see it. Yeah, I think I'm done with this. Oh, I wanted to address one other thing. As a black woman, personally, I've actually experienced more of the time of women. I've found better and easier friendships and amicability with white women than any other women. Um, over Asian women, Hispanic women, white skinned women, even dark skinned black women. And with that in mind, I get along well with many dark skinned black women. Those are like my two. White women and dark skinned black women are like, I'm definitely not uncomfortable with anyone. But those are usually the people that I usually have most of my friends in those demographics. Um, so yeah, that's generally my experience. I'm happy I haven't had any issues with anyone in that respect, generally. Um, and I think I will end this video.